Hey y'all, it's Sierra, aka Capricorn Moon Goddess, back on my soapbox about karmics. So, I just made a video telling a story about one of my karmic relationships. However, I had several karmic relationships in this lifetime. So, in this particular lifetime, I am breaking a lot of different karmic cycles. So, this has been a tough lifetime for me. Just imagine having one karmic relationship, that's bad, but having multiple in one lifetime, it is traumatizing. And I was just doing a video. I was trying to tell y'all the story of a different karmic relationship that I had that ended up with me being physically hurt. Um, and it was a situation where I wasn't abused within the relationship, but he was very controlling. And it is something that I pointed out to him, and I let him know, I'm not really a docile type of person. I feel like you might need more of a submissive woman. Like I would always tell him, like, I don't know if I'm right for you because it seemed like you need somebody that's a little bit more, you know, whatever you say, Poppy type of person. I don't know. Like, I just feel like you need somebody else. And this person was also 20 years older than me. This is the oldest person I've ever dated. I do typically date older, usually about 10 years older. But 20 years, that was really pushing it. This person was older than my mom. I was probably like 25 when I met him. So he was like 45. Um, so yeah, I should have known then, like, that's not gonna work. But also, the type of person and personality I am, dealing with guys my age is not always the easiest because I'm an old soul and I tend to be farther ahead. I had my son young. I had to grow up young because I had my son young. So I was just farther ahead in life, and I really wasn't out here being able to enjoy my 20s. So dealing with somebody that was in their 20s was not always easy. So I did tend to date older because I had the life of an older person, to be honest. But still, 20 years was a lot. Um, and the situation ended with the police having to be called, and like one of the police officers was like, why are you dating somebody that's 20 years older than you anyway? Like, I don't like that. I have a daughter your age. Like, please don't do that again. So, even if you are in a relationship with somebody older, that doesn't give them the right to abuse you. So people might like come at you like, well, you should have known because they're that much older. Well, you don't necessarily see it at that time. You don't fully recognize. Now I can recognize, like, yeah, uh somebody that much older than you is probably trying to take advantage. Even though you may be wise beyond your years, they still have more life experience than you, which will make it easier for them to take advantage of you. Or they may just see you as somebody they can take advantage of even if you're not. So that's going to cause y'all to be able to clash anyway. And if they are karmic, that clash can turn deadly, it can turn abusive, it can turn physical. So if you are triggered by content that talks about abuse, sexual abuse, rape, anything like that, you might not want to watch this video. I was trying to explain the story in my last video and explain what happened to me, what this person did to me, when I was basically like, I'm done. I'm not dealing with you anymore. But I could not say it. I could not go over the story. So I'm not ready to talk about it. I think it's going to be something I'm going to have to detail in a book. I am writing a book. I think I'll be able to get it all out in a book. But part of me not being able to say it was the judgment. Like, I'm just thinking about that officer being like, why are you even dealing with somebody that much older than you? So I'm just thinking about how all the comments would probably be like, well, you should have known and this and that. So it's already hard enough to explain what somebody has done to you to physically harm you. Um, but thinking about the judgment too. So I'm not ready to go over what happened. Or I will say that I did end up being raped in the situation. I will say that. But I'm not able to go over the details. Like I wanted to explain like what led up to it and everything. Like I'm not ready to go into that much detail. But that's what happened. And it was like because it was like basically punishment for, oh, you think you gonna leave, and we were not in a relationship at the time. We were broken up, but it was like a situation where I was saying I'm not coming back. And it was like he technically broke he technically is the reason we broke up because he ghosted me for a long period of time. So it was kind of like, okay, we just broke up. I was in a whole new relationship because it was like that long. But it was a conversation, a closure conversation where it was like, well, I wanted to know, well, can you at least tell me why you kind of ghosted me and broke up with me without breaking up with me? Like, can you tell me what was happening? What were you doing in that time frame? It was like a very long time. So what were you doing? He told me his mom was sick. I didn't believe his mom was sick. He asked, can he come over and discuss it? I felt like, okay, I will be able to get more of the truth out of him in person. I'll be able to see his body language and be able to tell when he's lying and not lying. So I thought it was okay for this person to come into my personal space, even though we are broken up. He did display some controlling behavior, but I did not know I would literally get physically attacked. So I'm here to let you all know it is not safe to try to get closure from these karmics. It is not, you can end up being hurt. You can end up being physically hurt. Okay. And a lot of times it is something that you may feel like they could possibly be capable of, but then you also may feel like, oh, I'm being paranoid. This person is not going to take it that far. Or you may feel like you'll be able to snap them out of it. Even if they do try to like physically do something, you may feel like you'll be able to snap them out of it before it goes to a point of no return. And that's not always the case. So you don't always need closure. A lot of the times we feel like we need closure to fully close a chapter and end a relationship. Once you decide you're going to move on and you're serious about it, that is when these karmics become the most dangerous. If they realize you're not playing and you're not coming back, because they're used to you having a toxic dynamic to where y'all might make up and break up all the time, and no matter what or no matter how much time has passed, they're able to come back. Once they realize you are not coming back, it is over, it is done. That is when they become the most dangerous. Trying to get closure out of them at this time is dangerous to you. Okay, if you have children, it could be dangerous to your children. Do not let them back in your personal space. Okay. You might need to change your phone number. You might, I don't know how I feel about restraining orders, because somebody told me that you have to give them your address because they have to know where they can't go, right? And I also feel like restraining orders just kind of make them more angry. So I don't know. They wanted me to do a restraining order when the situation happened. I was like, yeah, I'm not trying to poke the bear. So I don't know how I feel about restraining orders, but you may have to get one. Change your number and just not communicate with them anymore. But if they know that you want closure, they're going to use that as a way to get to you. And then they might enact their evil plan against you. They're either going to try to make it one last attempt to get you back under their thumb, or they're going to exact their revenge on you for trying to get away from them. So closure is not needed once you figure out that you are done with somebody, once you figure out they're not good for you, and especially once you figure out they are karmic. Don't put your life at risk to get closure from them. Don't prolong contact with them to get closure from them. Um Yeah, that's all I have to say. Closure can get you hurt when you're dealing with a karmic. Sometimes you're going to have to move on without it. A lot of times they're going to lie to you anyway. When you ask them questions, they're not going to tell you the truth. When you ask what they was doing, how they felt, why they did what they did, they're not going to tell you the truth. They're just not. They know the one thing you want is closure. They're not about to give it to you. So if you think they are, they're not. So yeah, that is what I have to say about closure and trying to get it from a karmic. You don't necessarily need it for most breakups, even though you feel like you do, but you definitely want to be careful trying to get closure from somebody that's controlling or abusive or that you're in a karmic relationship with, because, like I said, once they realize you are breaking the cycle and you're not coming back and they don't have any more chances, that is when they become the most dangerous. And that is when you see those stories on the news about people getting taken out by their exes or people they're in relationships with and things like that. Okay, so hopefully this was not a triggering video, but if you were thinking about going back to a karmic or somebody that has displayed controlling behavior or abusive behavior, even those who haven't displayed controlling behavior, you still want to be careful. If they're used to you coming back to them and being in the toxic cycle, be careful about letting them back into your space. If they are obsessed with you, they keep calling, texting you, won't leave you alone, you've asked them to leave you alone, they won't respect your boundaries, they could be dangerous. So it's just not worth it to risk. Okay, so yeah, that's what I have. So sorry to make this such a not high vibrational video, but I felt like it needed to be said. If you're thinking about letting this person back in your energy, just don't do it. Just don't do it. If they can't tell you something over the phone, you don't need to hear it. All right, that's what I have. So hopefully y'all have a good rest of your day. Toodles.